what's going on, guys? Welcome back. This video is just going to be talking about the comparisons between the GT3 and the M3. I'm going to cover a couple points that I felt that should be known or should be pointed out between the two cars that make them great in their own ways. These cars are very different, and I felt like being able to track both, I could give you guys an honest opinion on how each handles. Now, do I have a favorite? No, I don't think I have a favorite. I think both cars are equally badass. I think, honestly, the GT3 has more potential. If I was to do the same amount of work that I've done to the F80 to the GT3, it would definitely be game over for the M3. But at the same time, you're talking about twice the price of everything. You know, you hit that Porsche tax. You've heard of M tax. Well, when you move up to Porsche, you know, Porsche tax is a real damn thing. So all these parts that are, you know, $400 on the F80, $500 for some arms, we're talking like $1,000, $1,200, $2,000 sometimes for some of these parts. So you know, you can kind of balance that out that way, because your bank account's going to definitely take a big hit trying to do something like that to the GT3 as opposed to an F80. But let's just jump right into it. First thing that I've noticed right off the bat with the GT3 was it definitely has a big advantage on corner entry, right? It's got the rear wheel steer. So the rear wheel steer system, basically at a certain speed, the rear wheels, the front and the rear, will turn in the same direction. That'll give you more response to turn in, more stability as well. And then at lower speeds, it'll turn the opposite way. So that'll help you get a tighter turn radius. It'll also help with that, with just handling in general. You know, you don't have to turn the wheel as much. It's going to go in the direction you want, even sharper than you expect, which is pretty amazing, honestly, that Porsche has something like that, and that BMW does not yet have that currently right now. And to be fair, both my Porsche and my M3 are 2015s. That GT3 is not new. So this was tech back in 2015, and that's tech that BMW did not have. So, and I don't think they have any rear steer system on any current gen car right now. Maybe the M8, but I'm not really familiar with it. I don't know if they do or not. To be honest, I'm not a fan of that pile of shit anyways, so that's besides the point. BMW's, the F80 M3 does not have rear wheel steer system, and that is a big advantage for the GT3 on track. That makes turn entry so much smoother, but you also have to be careful with on your turn entry as well, which, going back to the M3, I feel like it has a little bit of an advantage, right? On the M3, you can trail brake a little bit and you'll be safe. On that GT3, if you trail brake just a little too much, that ass end is going to keep following and it's just going to spin you out. So I spun out a total of 4 times, right? 4 times, and I went off once off the track one time. And yeah, it was honestly from trail braking or getting on the throttle a little too early on turn exit, which normally does not happen on a car like that with as much grip as it has on the rear axle. But I remember one instance, I was downshifting the last turn of my last hot lap, and it was going to be a good lap too, and it felt like a sub 2 the entire time. But I downshift, and then still going too hot into the last turn, and I'm starting to brake while turning, and I just felt the ass end of the car just slowly start to pivot out from me as I'm turning left. Started coming out, and I'm like, oh shit, man. Try to save it, and nope, couldn't save it. Just kept spinning out. So trail braking, it's pretty known for those who have 911s. Everyone pretty much knows you don't trail brake in a car like that, and it's just part of learning the car. Honestly, it's part of learning that chassis. But you know, thank God it's on a track and not on the street, and I'm not over here crashing into shit. So yeah, that is a good thing for the M3, I guess, that you don't have to deal with that. You can trail brake into turns with M3 and you should be fine. Another thing that I noticed with the GT3 that it has over the M3 is the acceleration on turn exit. So that's a couple different things that make up that factor, right? The fact that the car is lightweight high power, and the fact that it's a rear-wheel drive car. So you have those three things together. You're putting all the weight on the ass end of the car, where all the power is supposed to be going on a car that weighs 3,000 pounds and has 500 horsepower. It's gonna fucking hook up and go. And there was really no issues with oversteer on turn exit. If there was, it was because I was getting on throttle with one wheel on a curb. And if you've ever been on track, you know that those curbs are super slick. So it's very easy to spin the tires on those curbs. But other than that, turn exit on these cars is absolutely insane. It's like being slingshotted to the next corner. It's like you hit a corner, slingshot down the straight, hit a corner, slingshot to down the next straight, and it's like that the entire time. It's absolutely absurd, and insane for sure. And in the F80, you don't get that. You don't get that because of a couple different things as well. You got big power on a rear-wheel drive car with a front engine, right? So the the rear axle is light. There's no weight over the top like the GT3, and you really have to be able to modulate the throttle correctly in order to not get that oversteer going and not spin the wheels. Now, I've grown up only knowing front engine rear wheel drive cars, so the adjustment period between the GT3 and the M3, I mean, I'm still not going to sit here and try to act like I'm a boss with the GT3. I still have a lot more learning to do with that chassis, and but I can easily see that if you became a master at driving that GT3 and understood what the car does, what the car likes, what the car doesn't like, you could easily kill an M3 of my caliber on track. It's a whole different level. It's like M cars are all right here, and then the next step up is the GT3 on track. It's just insane. It's insane how much of a big leap there is as well between that, you know. You know, the M3 is not a bad car at all. I love the M3. I think it's one of the best cars that you can get for, I think that the S55 is one of the best motors you can get for tracking use in general. Like, they give you basically everything you need to go out and track right from the get-go, you know, and there's not too many other cars that are like that you don't have to upgrade the cooling system. You don't have to, you know, put engine oil coolers on it, upgraded radiators, you know. You don't have to do all that shit with the S55. It's ready to go now. Just get yourself some nice brake pads and you're set, some nice brake fluid and you're good. Yeah, I mean, also another thing is it's turboed. The S55 is turboed, so what you got to worry about is there's a slight delay on that turn exit, right? If the turbos aren't spooled up, you have to spool them up. Now the S55 has two small turbos for this reason, basically, to get you up to speed as fast as possible. But even then, it still doesn't compare to a naturally aspirated motor. And I think that's what makes those GT3s just perfect for the track, is you start off with a naturally aspirated motor and you build from there. And yeah, it's got that advantage over the S55, the M3 and M4, and the M2 Comp. It is a smaller car, and it is 300 pounds lighter than the F80. But the F80 at its current status, with, you know, being gutted and all these arms and stuff and suspension, it does not feel like a heavy car compared to the GT3. It feels on par. Like, I know I can toss the F80 and it's going to do what I want it to do. The GT3 at its current state, yeah, it feels tossable, but it doesn't feel as tossable as the M3. But like I said, then again, we're talking about a couple grand into suspension work on that F80 just to get it to that point, when the GT3 is basically a turnkey race car straight from the dealership, you know. And this is just a GT3. We're not even talking about the GT3 RS. The RS is for sure a turnkey race car. So yeah, that's pretty much all the topics I wanted to cover. I don't really think I've missed anything that I noticed differently between the two. Do I have a favorite? I don't think I have a favorite. I think both cars are equally as amazing. I love the M3. I love the sedan. The fact that you can take a sedan on track and just pretty much whoop anything's ass is pretty dope. You don't really see that. I can't really tell you that I've seen other sedans that are as quick on track. as an M3 is. And then the GT3, we already know what the GT3 is about. GT3 is, you know, the perfect track weapon. So both cars are amazing. I love both cars, and I really can't choose a favorite. I guess it would all come down to if you guys are looking at these two cars as you know, potential options. You got to think about the work that I put into my M3 to get it to this point, and decide for yourself if it's worth that sacrifice of turning basically a daily driver, a comfortable sedan, into a full-on track weapon. And let's just say you don't want to gut it and you just do all the arms, well, you're still making the car extremely stiff. So there is still a sacrifice there that you're making. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Drop in the comments section. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I threw in some clips of the M3 and the GT3 on track during this video. The M3, you'd notice, was the one with the no interior, and then the GT3 would be the one from Button Willow. Yeah, so that's basically it, guys. Take it easy. Talk to you guys soon.